You are live.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our fall semester general meeting of our National Academy of Inventors chapter at Colorado State University. We have started our organization this February, and this is our first fall semester general meeting. But for the last spring semester, we had a couple of meetings, faculty meetings, general meetings. But for the fall semester, this is our first general meeting, which includes both the faculty chapter and the student chapter. That's why we have our faculties with us and the students. We will start with recalling our fall semester updates, the exciting and engaging events we hosted from our organization. Dakota will be taking over those talks, and then we'll have our engagement officer, Erin Snyder, to talk about what plans we have for the next spring semester. For example, we had our first fall semester in-person event with Michael Best Law Firm, which was very cool. I'm sure Dakota will be talking more about it. And I know a lot of students applied for the internship position that had applied. And for the spring semester coming, we have the CSU Inventors panel meeting, which is on the discussion. We have not finalized everything yet, but that's a big event we are going to host for the spring semester. And we are also open for accepting new leadership positions. Those are big agendas for talking for today's meeting. So please meet our officers. I'm Nipa. I'm from the Material Science and Engineering Department. We have Dakota Lawrence, our financial officer, and Erin Snyder, our engagement officer. They are both from the chemistry department. Also, please meet our faculty advisor, Professor V. Chandrasekhar. He has been appointed as our faculty advisor during our before our last election on the spring semester. So I will leave it to Dakota.
Great, thank you, Nipa. So how we started the fall semester was we actually participated in the Involvement Expo. And you can see on the slide here is kind of an example of what our setup was. And it was kind of a nice start because not only did it get our feet wet, but it let some students walk by and communicate with us, but it also let us advertise for our Michael Best event later on, and then our IPA with NAI event that I'll talk about here in a minute. But although it was hot, it was like 98 degrees, the sun was sweltering, but it actually worked out pretty well. We had some people join the NAI immediately. We had a number of other people take flyers and say they were going to share and get their name out to their friends. So overall, I think it was a worthwhile event for us, especially since we're just new and getting our name out there. And so that kind of leads us into our first event, which was our real Michael Best Law Firm came out. And here on the left, you can see an image of the turnout. So it was actually a pretty good student turnout. And it went a little bit differently than I think a lot of us were expecting. But it was really cool in the fact that they kind of told us about what their law firm does and where you could get positions in their law firm. So instead of talking directly about patent law and answering questions along those lines, we kind of talked about what it would look like to become a patent agent or a patent attorney after we graduate with PhDs. So it was a cool event for networking. And on the next slide, it shows the members that actually showed up. So here you can see the presenters that we were able to network with. And at the end of their presentation, we all had a open platform to go up to all of these presenters and to ask any questions that we had. And I think that was the most beneficial part because there was a ton of networking that happened at that the open question and answer session. You could go around and kind of find people that had similar backgrounds, different backgrounds, ask how they got to where they were. So it was very eye-opening in terms of the patent law kind of side of this group. So it was a worthwhile event, but it wasn't so much of talking about how to take ideas from students and get them patented and out there. So I think our event that's going to be happening more in February is going to be a little bit more tailored to how students can actually get their ideas out in the workforce. But this talk was really cool about how to become a patent attorney, networking with Michael Best, and just having a really good time of sharing stories with them. So it was a very successful first event for the NAI. And finally, there's this initiative that I've been trying to start, which is the Intellectual Property Awareness with the National Academy of Inventors, or IPA with the NAI. And it's just a play on words to get together as a social event, drink some beer and talk some science. And so I think I had 3 events this semester. I think I could have done a better job advertising, especially at the venue. So here on the left, you can actually see a picture of the honey hole. I'm going to try and do a better job describing that. That's where this event is being held. But they have a nice conference room. You can kind of see it in that picture beyond that blue door. They actually have 2 tables. I think they can hold about 20 people in there. Oh, great question, David. So the honey hole is actually a specific room at Sweetwater Brewery. So if you go to Sweetwater Brewery, they have their main area with the stage and all that. They have their taps and everything, and their merchandise up front. But in the back, there's kind of a hallway that goes to a private room, and it's just first come, first serve. And they've been very helpful for us of reserving it so we can meet there. And they've also offered to provide everyone their first beer for free. So it seems like between us and Sweetwater, it's a really good relationship that we have. I just need to do a better job making sure that it's well known around campus. So I think my biggest goal for this is going to be marketing it better. But we have a nice location. It can hold a number of people. And I think we're going to try and switch it to more of it. Instead of just a social event, we might be discussing how the IPA with NAI could be more of our monthly meeting where we could have faculty and students get together, network, discuss ideas, and form a more solid chapter here at CSU. So I think that's kind of the plan for what we've been doing this semester. And then I'll turn it over to Erin to talk about next semester.
Okay.
Hello. Hi, so I'm Erin. I'm the engagement officer that you saw earlier. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Cool. So first we'll talk about, ways to be involved in the same way that we have stepped up. You can also step up. So there's leadership positions available. Currently we have president, which is NEPA, financial officer, which is Dakota, and engagement officer, which is me. But we'll be looking for all of these positions again, with also secretary and vice president being open. So applying for anything that is within your interests or scope of what you'd like to be involved in. We have posted a document that has the description of the application, and after this meeting, we'll send out a news update with some of that information as well. I know that Yusuf knew a little bit more about this GAIN network, but a Global Academy of Inventors network. And I believe you fill out this online profile and it matches you with mentors that kind of fit what you're looking for in your career. So as Nipa's kind of discussing some of her personal goals academically, that could be something that she could possibly get help from this network. I guess.
Sorry, Erin, I can add a little bit about this GAIN, which is a kind of fellowship and mentor kind of thing. And it's a cool and very awesome place to connect both the mentors and the fellows to learn a lot about internships, innovations, and future career tips. Yeah. And always the faculties are all welcome to do that and match with their mentees. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, so
okay.
I don't know if there's anything else you want me to say. Leadership opportunities are always very helpful for you and for the organization. So getting experience in networking, building your communication skills, add to your resume, being involved at CSU and being part of the CSU community, which as a graduate student can always be a little difficult. So it's been nice to kind of expand outside of my one department, obviously. And then getting used to organizing and hosting events. So these chapter meetings, organizing those, seminars, events like Dakota's held, workshops with Michael Best. It's all been different experiences that will be very helpful for our personal and career growth, which is exciting. If to apply to be a leader, you need to be a CSU student during that leadership term. So that will be the academic year of 2023-2024. So keep that in mind. Must be a member of the NIA chapter. So just going on and to Ramlink and creating yourself as a member, completing an application, which both the document and a newsletter will go out, or news announcement. The application is pretty straightforward: a resume or CV, a cover letter describing why this position or this organization is of interest to you, and then 2 references, personal references, not reference letters. And then the deadline for this will be March 31st, 2023. And depending on the application process, we will likely have a 3-minute presentations and votes at a general meeting like this, I believe, in the last week of April. And then the next meeting in May will be when we announce those.
So depending on the applications we receive, if we are like this year where we have only 2 officer application, we did not have to hold a vote to choose our officers. But in case next semester we get a lot more applications, and we have more than 2 or 3 applicants applying for one specific position, then we'll hold a general election, and that's very much doable in the Ramlink, which we kind of started last year, but we will restart it this year to open the general voting, and the voting will be based on the 3-minute presentation the applicants provide. From the voting, we'll choose our officers. That's the goal we have been trying to fill up. Thank you, Erin. And then we have our NAI annual conference. That's not a part of our chapter. It's more of a general NAI annual conference. And I know Professor Yodkhani students had participated last year. Actually, not last year. It seems very last. It's already 22. I feel like it's already 2023, but still it's 2022. So his student, Iman Nasari, had participated on this conference this June, 2020 June, and they are hosting their next events on June 2023. And we are trying to see if we can have any budgets or any travel grants to sponsor any students from our organization to go and participate in this event. And yeah, it's a very cool conference to have all the inventors, not from one field. It's like a fair of all type of inventors connecting together in one platform. Action items for students is to sign up by the Ramlink to be our members for the student chapter of our NAI chapter, and then they can submit their application on the Ramlink. We have uploaded the document which guidelines the documents required for applying for this position. That's on Ramlink/document of our chapter. And then we are hosting this very cool event on the next spring semester, where we are creating a panel of CSU inventors, faculties, and students who graduated but then later started their startup, who graduate students from CSU. So we are planning to host an event of panels of inventors, and we will be hosting our students, which is a cool place to communicate between inventors and students, how we can translate our research from our lab to actual real life application. We sometimes innovate, but don't think it is as a way of patenting and commercializing and applying in real life. So that's going to be happening on the next spring semester. And we are applying for some grants from CSU to sponsor those events.
Can I have you go back to the NAI annual conference slide for a moment?
Sure.
So I did just want to let everyone know that if you follow the link down at the bottom, and you can actually just type into Google NAI annual conference, and this page should pop up. the students do a student showcase, and so faculty and the students in their lab can submit abstracts just like any other professional conference that you may attend in your discipline. And it is focused on innovations coming out of academia, and they select a smaller number for in-person presentations. So it's very prestigious for the NAI, at least, if you get to present your work in terms of an oral presentation versus going and presenting as a poster. And so there's a little bit of competition there. We did, the first students to ever send an abstract to the NAI conference were out of Dr. Yordkani's lab, and they did present and received some additional funding to go. And it was actually really quite nice and interesting. They were the only engineering innovation selected to do an oral presentation up against 3 medtech teams. So it was actually really quite cool in that as well. And so that was what I wanted to mention there. Those abstract submissions and the requests for that should come open, I think in probably March is when the website updates and those become available. So it's not a huge time in advance.
Thank you, Sarah. It makes me interested and excited to apply this year.
Yeah, it is. They had a great time. So if you have any questions about it and you want to talk with someone who went this past year, you can always contact Dr. Mustafa Yordkani in the College of Engineering or anyone in his lab. 3 students went, I believe, with him. So
yeah, that's a cool. Yeah, that's exciting and competitive.
Yep. So now you can keep going. Sorry.
No, you're good. Thank you for talking and discussing all these things. And then the last slide, I believe, is talking about the dates. We have our February events, which we are planning to declare by the end of this semester, by at least 16 December. And then elections and votings of applicants will start on the month of April, because our deadline for application is 31st March. And then we'll hold our general meeting like this semester on May 2nd. We also hold our general meeting on the spring semester for 2022 on May 2nd. And on this general meeting, we'll be announcing new applicants, new officers, and the way to go on the next round of our chapter. Yeah, I would like to thank CSU Strata and the Office of the Provost, who have been supporting us, has founded this organization and keep us running for futures. I would like to take questions.
So Nipa and Aaron and Dakota, I have a question for you for students who may be interested in applying for one of the leadership positions. Mm-hmm. How do you feel being an officer has been of benefit to you personally in what you've learned and what skills you've had to develop?
So I can talk about the benefits already I am getting or already I have received, and then how it's helping me as becoming as a leader. So I am an international student, and I am here on USA on F1 visa, so I don't have work permit or anything. So there is an option to apply for permanent residency, which is applying for the filing for the immigration petition, which is not the actual change of status 485, just the first form of I-140, which requires that the applicant has demonstrated already novelty, and it's called national national interest waiver, so NIW. So if you are a strong applicant, you can apply for national interest waiver, and they can work on your application portal. So it goes into a lot of things, my research, my publication, my citations, all of this has gone to the USCIS, and they're going to evaluate if I'm qualified enough to apply for this for my change of status. In that application portal, I had to demonstrate how good I am. So I had a good number of citation, but the main thing that rolled or worked on my application portal was that I'm a president of a national organization, national level organization, which is our chapter is just a part of that national organization, but I'm working as an officer and then became the president. So that helped my lawyer to make the argument that I have strong credential to be waived for that particular statement of status. That's a big thing for us as an international to get work permit. Secondly, for leadership positions, right now, I think that I want to be a leader in my research. In future, I want to live a life where I'm doing research and leading my research field. And leading this organization helps me to communicate between officers, communicate between you and other officers like Erin and Dakota, and then learning how to do more effective communication with the mass public, how we should communicate with the mass public to draw attention, and then hosting events. That was a completely new experience for me when we hosted the event for the Michael Best. So a lot of things that I learned from this event, from like being a officer of this organization. And Dakota or Ian can probably share their experiences as well.
Yeah, I
Thank you,
can talk a little bit about that. So I think this semester was a lot of organization since we're just starting, but that's not necessarily a bad thing because we have a lot of that organization set up now in place. So I think moving forward, it's going to be a lot, we're more established now, and we already have funding, we already have our accounts set up that we need. We've already reached out and kind of networked a little bit as an organization. So I think moving forward, it's going to be a lot more of thinking of creative ways to get people engaged, cool opportunities for inventors at CSU, and just having more of the fun come through our organization, which is I think where we all want to see it get to. So right now it's been a lot of, setting up appointments and trying to get people to meet. But I think we've gotten past that first hump because even when Yusuf was here, he kind of got the ball rolling. There wasn't a lot of involvement. And even this semester, I'd say we've had a lot more of involvement from students and from events that we've done. So you can already tell how fast this group is growing. And even that Michael Best event, I think kind of surprised us all with how amazing of a networking opportunity it was. And it even sounds like a lot of us might even be able to get a job right after we graduate from that one event. So
Yeah.
having more events come out, having more students join, I think it's only going to increase what you can actually get out of being an officer for the NAI.
Yeah, I can kind of jump onto that. So I've been involved in leadership positions for a while, both at CSU and my undergrad. And obviously you get all of the things that we talked about, resume building, time management, planning skills, etc. But I think the unique thing about NAA is just what we've been talking about, that access to information and networking and opportunities that this like pre-professional organization can provide, that sometimes other organizations don't have as much access to. I mean, we have such amazing connections through Strata and the university that it just helps us get to that next level of, our careers and exciting opportunities that I never would have thought that I'd be interested in patent law, but that event was so incredible. And having all of these, seminars and things that we're planning in the future. And yes, it has taken a lot of work to get here. But even so, in the inaugural years, we've already had some incredible opportunities. So that's what I would say is the most exciting part of NAA in particular and being an exec on this board.
I almost dreamed myself working in the Michael Best when they were talking about their company.
That's amazing. So yes, thank you all. That is being an officer whether you are an undergrad or a graduate student, can be in some ways life-changing at the largest part of it, as Nipa maybe has mentioned, but also really building skills for you to show your leadership potential and ability to solve problems and network for your next career outside of school. So
Yeah.
wonderful. I don't know that there are any additional questions.
Mhm.
So any last words from those of you?
Yeah, I think we just have to be the way we are. Like as our officer said, be more creative. That's what I like more. Like we have built the foundation. We have to like go beyond that now with our future events.